Also breaking, an immigrant mother staying in Massachusetts has just been reunited with her young son. They were separated at the U.S.-Mexico border. Lydia Souza hugged her son Diego today in Chicago. They were kept apart for about a month. The two are both from Brazil. They tried to enter the United States last month. Lydia has been living here in Massachusetts since her release from a detention facility, while her son was being held separately at a government facility in Chicago.
Eu chorava quase todo dia e depois que
I cried almost every day when I wasn't with my mother.
Mas agora você tá feliz, né?
And now I'm happy.
A federal judge ordered the immediate release of 9-year-old Diego Souza earlier this afternoon.
Disgraced sports doctor Larry Nassar is facing new charges of sexual assault. Texas prosecutors say the abuse happened at an elite gymnastics training center there. That now closed camp was run by famed Olympic coaches Bella and Marta Caroli. They coached the Olympic team for years. The Carolis will not be charged. Nassar is serving decades in prison for sexual assaults on young women and girls while he worked at Michigan State University.
Tonight's State of Addiction. The number of opioid-related deaths is decreasing in Massachusetts, but state officials are seeing a surge in deaths from fentanyl. Overall, the number of opioid-related deaths decreased last year from 2,154 to 2,071, and that's a 4% drop compared to 2016.
Also breaking, an immigrant mother staying in Massachusetts has just been reunited with her young son. They were separated at the U.S.-Mexico border. Lydia Souza hugged her son Diego today in Chicago. They were kept apart for about a month.
Says he is making
the two
money
are both from
available
Brazil.
to help
they tried to enter the United States last month. Lydia has been living here in Massachusetts since her release from a detention facility, while her son was being held separately at a government facility in Chicago,
which will be distributed to 33 cities and towns across the Bay State. Last year, first responders used the drug, also known as Narcan, 447 times to revive people suffering from an overdose.
You can't get somebody into treatment if you can't save their lives.
A federal judge ordered the immediate release of 9-year-old Diego Souza earlier this afternoon.
When they do overdose, those who are there first, which more often than not are members of our first responder community, have access to the tools and the equipment that they need to make sure they can save a life.
The 33 communities receiving money to buy Narcan include Brockton, Quincy, and Fall River, and others that have been hit hard by the opioid epidemic.
A Provincetown beach shut down today after a great white was spotted near people who were swimming in the water. Race Point Beach was closed to swimmers for about an hour after the shark was sighted around 12:30 this afternoon. It has since reopened. Another shark was seen around Nauset Beach earlier this morning. Now, experts say it's likely the warm weather sending Bay Staters to the beaches is also drawing sharks closer to the Cape.
Worcester police are investigating what they're calling a suspicious death. The body of a 42-year-old man was found inside the hallway of a triple-decker on Everard Street last night. He'd been shot in the head. Police have not released his name and say it remains early in the investigation.
It was a sea of blue today outside of the Barnstable Courthouse. Members of the Yarmouth Police Department lining the sidewalks as Thomas Latanowicz was brought out after his arraignment for the murder of Sergeant Sean Gannon, and a team of officers were there. We're trying to serve an arrest warrant on Latanowicz back in April when police say the career criminal opened fire. Sergeant Gannon was killed and his canine partner Nero was seriously wounded.
And gun control advocates protested in front of the Smith & Wesson headquarters today in Springfield. It marked the end of a 50-mile march. It began Thursday in Worcester. More than 50 youth activists took part, including David Hogg, a survivor of the Parkland school shooting. He joined Massachusetts students in organizing this march.
They're making money and they're causing the problem. We thought it was only right that they try to be part of the solution by funding some gun violence research.
Protesters want Smith & Wesson to change their policies when it comes to assault rifles and to donate $5 million to gun violence research. And an original and fully functional Apple I computer is up for auction here in Boston. That computer was restored by an Apple expert. It operated perfectly for 8 hours during testing. Only 60 of the original 200 computers remain. This one being auctioned by Boston-based group RR Auction. It's expected to sell for at least $300,000. Silent bidding starts next month. All right, well, marathons are difficult enough, but this one just might make you dizzy.
Yeah, today 75 marathoners ran More than 100 laps inside Fenway Park, all for a good cause. Each participant raised at least $5,000 for the Red Sox Foundation to compete in this marathon. So they ran 113 laps around the warning track. How they kept track, I'm hoping someone else was counting for them before they crossed the finish line, which was right next to the Red Sox home dugout. This is the second time, by the way, that Fenway Park has hosted this marathon. Good cause.
Congrats to those runners.
All right.
Well, the games are on. The bars are open at the brand new MGM in Springfield tonight. The Vegas-style resort wrapping up day one after its grand opening today. 9,000 people lined up and ready to place their bets as those doors opened. The new resort has 120 table games, 2,500 slot machines, several restaurants and bars.
I've never been to a casino my whole life. I've never been to Foxwoods. I've never been to Mohegan. So I was dying to come down here to check it out, and I love it. I'm going to be spending a lot of time down here, let me tell you.
This is the first Vegas-style casino to open since the state legalized gambling back in 2011. Another casino will open in Everett next year.
Well, how about this? A Japanese woman is now the air guitar champion of the world, beating out the defending champ in Finland today. Nanami Nagura, who goes by the name Seven Seas, took home the top honors.
Wow.
She defeated two-time champion Matt Burns, who was there to defend his air guitar title. Air guitar enthusiasts say it's a fun way to express oneself, even if it may seem a bit silly. And yes, even if it may seem. And this could be a thing to make the world a better place.
It's very silly, the whole air guitar thing. I enjoy, I like that, but there's also, like we all know, there is a bigger thing behind this, the world peace.
In addition to her new title, she also walked away with a hand-carved guitar called the Flying Fan.